Alright, hello and welcome back to day 186 of our Chronological Bible Year reading plan. And today we have 2 Kings 12 and 13 and 2 Chronicles chapter 24. So 2 Kings chapter 12, diving right in. Jehoash began to reign in the 7th year of Jehu, and he reigned 40 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Zibiah of Beersheba. And Jehoash did what was right in the eyes of Yahuwah all the days in which Jehoiada the Kohen, which again is the priest, instructed him. However, the high places were not taken away. The people were still slaughtered, and burned incense on the high places. And Jehoash said to the Kohanim, which are the priests, all the silver of the Kadesh gifts, again Kadesh means holy or set apart, that are brought into the house of Yahuwah, the silver coming over, each man's assessment silver, all the silver that a man purposes in his heart to bring into the house of Yahuwah, let the Kohanim take for themselves, each from his friend, and let them repair the damages of the house, wherever there is damage. And it came to be by the 23rd year of sovereign Jehoash that the Kohanim had not repaired the damages of the house. And sovereign Jehoash called Jehoiada the Kohen and the other Kohanim, and said to them, Why have you not repaired the damages of the house? And now do not take any more silver from your friends, but give it for repairing the damages of the house. And the Kohanim agreed that they would neither receive any more silver from the people, nor repair the damages of the house. And Jehoiada the Kohen took a chest, and bored a hole in its lid, and put it beside the altar on the right side as one comes into the house of Yahuwah. And the Kohanim who guarded the door put there all the silver that was brought into the house of Yahuwah. And it came to be, whenever they saw that there was much silver in the chest, that the sovereign scribe and the Kohen Hagadol, which means the high priest, came up and put it in bags and counted the silver that was found in the house of Yahuwah, and gave the silver, weighed out, into the hands of those who did the work, who had the oversight of the house of Yahuwah. And they paid it out to the carpenters and builders who worked on the house of Yahuwah, and to stonemasons and stone cutters, and for buying timber and hewn stone to repair the damage of the house of Yahuwah, and for all that was paid out to repair the house. However, there were not made for the house of Yahuwah basins of silver, snuffers, sprinkling bowls, trumpets, any objects of gold, or objects of silver. Sorry, there's a bug. Where was I? From the silver that was brought into the house of Yahuwah, for they gave that to the workmen, and they repaired the house of Yahuwah with it. And they did not reckon with the men into whose hand they gave the silver to be paid to workmen, for they acted trustworthily. The silver from the trespass offerings and the silver from the sin offerings were not brought into the house of Yahuwah. It belonged to the Kohanim. And Hazael, sovereign of Aram, went up and fought against Gath and captured it, and Hazael turned his face to go up to Jerusalem. And Jehoash, sovereign of Yehuda, took all the Kadesh, again holy, gifts that his fathers, Jehoshaphat and Jehoram and Ahaziah, sovereigns of Yehuda, had Kadosh, which means set apart, and his own Kadesh gifts, and all the gold found in the treasuries of the house of Yahuwah, and in the sovereign's house, and sent them to Hazael, sovereign of Aram. Then he went away from Jerusalem. And the rest of the acts of Joash and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Yehuda? And the servants rose up and made a conspiracy, and smote Joash in the house of Millo, which goes down to Silla. And for Jozachar, son of Shemath, and Jehozabad, son of Shomer, his servants, smote him. So he died, and they buried him with his fathers in the city of David. And Amaziah, his son, reigned in his place. Chapter 13. In the 23rd year of Joash, son of Ahaziah, sovereign of Yehuda, Jehoahaz, son of Jehu, began to reign over Israel in Shomeron, and reigned 17 years. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah, and followed the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, who had made Israel sin. He did not turn away from them. And the displeasure of Yahuwah burned against Israel, and he gave them into the hand of Hazael, sovereign of Aram, and into the hand of Ben-Hadad, son of Hazael, all the days. Then Jehoahaz sought the face of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah listened to him, for he saw the oppression of Israel, because the sovereign of Aram oppressed them. And Yahuwah gave Yisrael a savior, so that they came out from under the hand of Aram. And the children of Israel dwelt in their tents as before. However, they did not turn away from the sins of the house of Jeroboam, who had made Yisrael sin, but walked in them. Moreover, the Asherah also remained in Shomeron, for he left of the army of Jehoahaz only 50 horsemen, and 10 chariots, and 10,000 footmen, for the sovereign of Aram had destroyed them, and made them like the dust at threshing. And the rest of the acts of Jehoahaz, and all that he did with his might, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Israel? So Jehoahaz slept with his fathers, and they buried him in Shomeron, and Joash his son reigned in his place. In the 37th year of Joash, sovereign of Yehudah, Jehoash, son of Jehoahaz, began to reign over Israel in Shomeron 16 years. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah. He did not turn away from all the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, who had made Israel sin. He walked in it. And the rest of the acts of Joash, and all that he did, and his might, with which he fought against Amaziah, sovereign of Yehudah, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Israel? So Joash slept with his fathers, and Jeroboam sat on his throne. And Joash was buried in Shomeron with the sovereigns of Israel. And Elisha had become sick. And Elisha had become sick with the sickness in which he died. And Joash the sovereign of Israel came down to him, and wept over his face, and said, O my father, the chariots of Israel and their horsemen. And Elisha said to him, Take a bow and some arrows. And he took a bow and some arrows. And he said to the sovereign of Israel, Place your hand on the bow. So he placed his hand, and Elisha placed his hands on the hands of the sovereign, and said, Open the east window. And he opened it, and Elisha said, Shoot. And he shot. Then he said, The arrow of deliverance of Yahuwah, and the arrow of deliverance from Aram, for you shall smite Aram at Aphek until it is finished. Then he said, Take the arrows. And he took them. And he said to the sovereign of Israel, Strike the ground. And he struck 3 times, and stopped. And the man of Elohim was wroth with him, and said, You should have smitten 5 or 6 times. Then you would have smitten Aram till its utter destruction. But now you shall smite Aram only 3 times. And Elisha died, and they buried him. And the raiding bands from Moab came into the land in the spring of the year. And it came to be, they were burying a man, and there they saw a raiding band, and cast the man in the tomb of Elisha. And the man fell and touched the bones of Elisha, and came to life and stood on his feet. And Hazael, sovereign of Aram, oppressed Israel all the days of Jehoahaz. But Yahuwah showed favor to them, and had compassion on them, and turned toward them, for the sake of his covenant with Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob, and would not destroy them or cast them from his presence as yet. And Hazael, sovereign of Aram, died, and Benhadad his son reigned in his place. And Jehoash, son of Jehoahaz, recovered from the hand of Benhadad, son of Hazael, the cities which he had taken out of the hand of Jehoahaz his father in battle. Joash smote him 3 times, and he recovered the cities of Israel. And now we're going to hop on over to 2 Chronicles chapter 24. Let me get there real quick. Okay, 2 Chronicles chapter 24. Joash was 7 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 40 years in Jerusalem. And the name of his mother was Zibiah of Beersheba. And Joash did what was right in the eyes of Yahuwah all the days of Jehoiada the Kohen. And Jehoiada took for him 2 wives, and he brought forth sons and daughters. And after this it came to be that Joash applied his heart on restoring the house of Yahuwah. And he gathered the Kohanim and the Levites, and said to them, Go out to the cities of Yehudah, and gather from all Yisrael silver to repair the house of your Elohim from year to year, and see that you hurry the matter. But the Levites did not hurry it. And the sovereign called Jehoiada the chief, and said to them, Why have you not required the Levites to bring in from Yehudah and from Jerusalem the levy of Moshe the servant of Yahuwah, and of the assembly of Israel for the tent of the witness? For the sons of Athaliah, that wicked woman, had broken into the house of Elohim, and had also prepared all the Kadesh vessels of the house of Yahuwah to the Baals, or the Baals. So the sovereign commanded, and they made a chest, and put it outside at the gate of the house of Yahuwah, and made it known in Yehudah and in Jerusalem to bring to Yahuwah the levy that Moshe the servant of Elohim had imposed on Yisrael in the wilderness. And all the rulers and all the people rejoiced, and they brought in and put them into the chest to completion. And it came to be at that time, when the chest was brought to the sovereign's official by the hand of the Levites, and when they saw that there was much silver, that the sovereign scribe and the Kohen Hagadol, which again high priest, Kohen Hagadol's officer, came and emptied the chest, and took it and returned it to its place. So they did day by day, and gathered a large amount of silver. And the sovereign and Jehoiada gave it to those who did the work of the service of the house of Yahuwah. And they hired stonemasons and carpenters to restore the house of Yahuwah, and also those who worked in iron and bronze to repair the house of Yahuwah. And the workmen labored, and the work of restoration progressed in their hands, and they established the house of Elohim to its proper form and strengthened it. And when they had finished, they brought the rest of the silver before the sovereign and Jehoiada, and they made utensils from it for the house of Yahuwah, utensils for serving and offering, ladles and vessels of gold and silver. And they offered burnt offerings in the house of Yahuwah continually all the days of Jehoiada. And Jehoiada was old and satisfied with days, and died, 130 years old when he died. And they buried him in the city of David among the sovereigns, for he had done good in Yisrael, both toward Elohim and his house. And after the death of Jehoiada, the rulers of Yehuda came and bowed themselves to the sovereign. And the sovereign listened to them. And they forsook the house of Yahuwah, Elohim of their fathers, and served the Asherim and the idols. And wrath came upon Yehuda and Jerusalem because of their trespass. And he sent Nebi'im to them, again prophets to them, to bring them back to Yahuwah. And they witnessed against them, but they did not listen. Then the Ruah of Elohim, the Spirit of Elohim, came upon Zechariah, son of Jehoiada the Kohen, who stood above the people, and said to them, Thus said Elohim, Why are you transgressing the commands of Yahuwah and do not prosper? Because you have forsaken Yahuwah, and he has forsaken you. And they conspired against him, and at the command of the sovereign, they stoned him with stones in the courtyard of the house of Yahuwah. Thus Joash the sovereign did not remember the kindness which Jehoiada his father had done to him, and slew his son. And as he died, he said, Yahuwah sees and repays. And it came to be at the turn of the year that the army of Aram came up against him. And they came into Yehuda and Jerusalem, and destroyed all the rulers of the people from among the people, and sent all their spoil to the sovereign of Darmasek. For the army of Aram came with few men, but Yahuwah gave a very great army into their hand, because they had forsaken Yahuwah, Elohim of their fathers. So they executed judgment against Joash. And when they had withdrawn from him, for they left him very sick, his own servants conspired against him. Excuse me. His own servants conspired against him because of the blood of the sons of Jehoiada the Kohen, and slew him on his bed, and he died. And they buried him in the city of David, but they did not bury him in the tombs of the sovereigns. And these are the ones who conspired against him: Zabad the son of Shemath the Ammonitess, and Jehozabad the son of Shemreth the Moabitess. As to his sons and the many words about him, and the rebuilding of the house of Elohim, see, they are written in the commentary of the book of the sovereigns. And Amaziahu, his son, reigned in his place. Yeah, I think we're going to go with that pronunciation. Amaziahu versus Amaziahu. A little easier. Alright. Anyway, that concludes our reading for today. And as always, I thank you for joining. And I hope and pray that you are reading for yourself and studying to show yourself approved. And I pray peace and blessings and love to you. See you in the next one.